Hey there and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a huge idea in business, one that we all think we know, what a market actually is. We're going to go way beyond just a simple map on the wall and uncover a much smarter, much more powerful way to figure out who your customers really are. So, let me just ask you, what is a market? Seriously, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's a place, right? A location, some kind of geographic area. But is that the whole story? Not even close. This quote just nails the old way of thinking, especially for local businesses. You find your office, you plop a coffee cup down on the map, trace a circle around it, and boom, that's your market. But thinking that way, well, it's incredibly limiting. Because a market isn't just a place, it's a group of people. And really, truly understanding them on a much deeper level, that's the key to everything. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start by showing why the map is the wrong tool. Then we'll build a whole new framework with 4 key questions. We're also going to dive into the customer mindset, learn the golden rule of prediction, and we'll wrap it all up with a super practical 10-point checklist you can use right away. All right, first things first, let's officially blow up this idea that a market is just some spot on a map. A perfect example of this, Walt Disney World. You see, the original plan was all about geography. They thought, hey, let's build something for folks on the East Coast so they don't have to drive all the way to California. They were planning for a regional business. But what happened? They accidentally created a global destination. It just goes to show you, a market's real potential often has nothing to do with its zip code. So if a map isn't the answer, what is? Well, let's build a much better framework. And it all starts with 4 key questions. See, instead of thinking about a place, we need to start thinking about a person. And to really get to know that person, we ask 4 simple but incredibly powerful questions. Who, where, how, and why? First up, who are they? This is all about building a profile of the person you actually want to serve. Their demographics, their characteristics, what makes them tick. It's about defining the person, not the perimeter. Second, where are they? And listen, this is not just about geography. Where do these people hang out? It could be a professional association, an online forum, maybe they all read a special interest magazine, or they're on a specific mailing list. The point is to find their communities, wherever they might be. Third, and this one is critical, how do they buy? Do they love getting direct mail? Do they sign up for webinars? Or do they only buy after an in-person meeting? If the way they like to buy doesn't match up with how you like to sell, you've got a major problem, no matter how perfect they seem on paper. And finally, the big one. Why do they buy? What's their real core motivation? For instance, let's say you sell business coaching. Are you selling to someone who's super ambitious and wants to build an empire? Or to someone who just wants a quiet life and to be their own boss? Those are 2 completely different people, and knowing their why tells you everything about whether they're a good fit. That why question is the perfect lead-in to our next big idea, psychographics. And this is all about getting inside your customer's head. It really all boils down to this one simple truth. Mindset drives behavior. If you can figure out what someone is thinking and feeling, you've got a pretty good chance of knowing what they're going to do next. But here's the piece that most people miss. Psychographics is so often about timing. It's not just who a person is, but when you reach them that matters. A very specific event in their life can trigger a mindset that makes them the perfect person to hear your message right at that moment. I mean, think about it. There's a real reason that Bible sales have been known to spike after a death in the family, or why cosmetic dentists often see more business from people who've recently gotten divorced. And of course, every single January, New Year's resolutions create this massive wave of people looking for weight loss programs and business opportunities. These are trigger events, creating a very specific mindset. And that leads us to maybe the single most powerful rule in all of market selection. This is a principle that just cuts through all the noise and gets right to the point. It's this: behavior predicts behavior. Let's look at this example to make it crystal clear. If you run an animal charity, who's a better prospect? A list of pet owners or a list of people who have donated to any charity? The answer, hands down, is the donors. Why? Because owning a dog doesn't mean you're a charitable person, but donating to something, anything at all, proves that you are. You want to find people who are already doing the thing you're looking for. Okay, let's pull all these ideas together into a practical tool you can actually use. We're going to walk through a 10-point checklist that will help you evaluate any potential market you're thinking about. So this checklist has 10 key criteria. We'll start with the big, foundational stuff, and then get into some of the finer points of finding your absolute perfect customer. Let's dive into the first 5. First, size. Is this market actually big enough to support your goals? Next, can you even reach them? A perfect market is totally useless if you can't afford to get your message to them. Third, is it proven to be viable? And what I mean by that is, are people already spending money on similar stuff? Don't try to invent a market, find one that already exists. Fourth, do they have an active interest? Are they out there looking for solutions, or are they kind of happy with how things are? And number 5, can you get access to known buyers? Man, finding lists of people who have bought similar things before is a huge, huge shortcut. All right, now for the next 4. Number 6, are they responsive to your way of selling? It's pointless trying to sell online to people who only buy face-to-face. 7th, is there an unmet need? Or is the market so crowded you'll just be another voice screaming in the void? Number 8 is affinity, and this one's personal. Do you actually like these people? Because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them. And finally, number 9, is the price appropriate? Are they used to paying what you need to charge? Or is every single sale going to be a painful uphill battle? But all of that brings us to the final, and I think, the most important criterion of them all, number 10. After you've done all the practical checks, you have to ask yourself this: is this market a source of ideal customers? And that question, it goes way beyond just making money. Because at the end of the day, this is the ultimate question. You know, the worst thing in the world is to build a wildly successful business serving people you absolutely cannot stand. So as you define your market, don't just ask who you can sell to. Ask yourself, who do you actually want to spend your life serving? Now that's a question worth thinking about.